It feels hard to imagine, but we have come to the end of the third season for Toyota GR Cup North America here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. After a up and down, all over the place kind of race yesterday, we get ready to throw a little bit of craziness into the mix with a little bit of wet weather that came through yesterday and still lingers on the track. Cars rolling off the grid to get ready for a 45-minute race here from the racing capital of the world. Track temperature roughly around 59 degrees Fahrenheit, pretty humid out there at 82% humidity, and a little bit of a cold 53 degree air temperature. My name is DJ Clark, delighted to be joined in the booth by Ryan Marine as we get ready to go racing for the last time for this series in 2025.
Well, stakes are high, maybe not for the championship. We know Weston Workman's got that wrapped up, and I'm sure he's grateful that he does because it is a hornet's nest in the battle for second place. There are 5 drivers within 15 points of second place coming into this last race of the championship, and as we saw yesterday, any number of things can take place in one of these races. We had our points we thought pretty well figured out, and then they got totally thrown out the window, and I expect we'll have more of that over the course of the next 45 minutes.
I'm certain we will, and mainly the reason I say that is because we've got a little bit of a surprise up on pole position. Henry Drury out of a car, out of one of these GR86 Cup cars for almost an entire calendar year. Came in this weekend, had a great race yesterday, and put it on pole this morning for PT Autosport with Copeland Motorsports.
What an awesome result, and what a great story as well to get the chance to step into the car here for the final couple of races of the season. Been on the bench for a little while. Scored a 10th place finish yesterday, has a chance for a lot more today.
He'll be starting alongside Lucas Weisenberg in the solo car entry team for Weisenberg Racing. A very stout front row. We'll have to see what can happen there. It's Will Robusto, one of those drivers as well as Weisenberg, who's in the hunt for P2 in the championship, alongside your champion-elect, Weston Workman. Park DeLong for Tech Sport Racing will line up alongside one of the other mid-season entries in the form of Jeremy Fletcher for Copeland Motorsports. And then we go back in time to our teenager with Ethan Tovo starting 7th for Nitro. Spike Colbecker, yesterday's race winner, will start to his outside. Then it's Max Schwein in P9. Ford Koch for Copeland Motorsports will start to his outside in row 5. Row 11, no, you're not seeing double. That's the other Tovo. Jackson Tovo, his twin brother, and Isabella Robusto will start in P12. Michael Edwards, a new name on the entry list, will start in 13th. And then Jackson Bell will start 14th after a very, very big crash yesterday. Good to see him out there. Beltre Curtis starts in 15th for Copeland. Then Livio Galante, the first of our WEX Group's legends, he will start off 16th. Massimo Sanseri 17th alongside Peyton Fain. She had a spin yesterday but was able to recover and keep going. As we move back into row 10, it's Farron Davis, RVA Graphics Motorsport My Speed Syndicate, and Patrick Brunson for Eagles Canyon Racing. It is the TV man himself, Rutledge Wood, starting off 21st for Precision Racing LA. Then Jason Coase will flank him in row 11. Row 12 is James Klimas and Tom Rudnine. Klimas may have a little bit of an advantage as he's already raced earlier today and he's got an idea of what this track condition is like. Andrew Gilliland starts 25th alongside Carl Foreman. Then moving back into row 14, it's Jeff Curry and Ramon Lano. Rounding out the rest of the field, it will be Ethan Goulart following a penalty issued in yesterday's race. Fantastic stuff to be able to see, and as we said, Drury in the start, Weisenberg to his outside. Lucas is always an exciting driver to watch. Henry's always very methodical in the way that he drives. Robusto, Workman behind, kind of the same lineup. This is going to be a fun start to this race.
It should be. I'm fascinated to see how this one will play out. We got some fast cars as well, starting at the back half of the top 10 or even a little bit further back that might be charging up through the field here before it's all said and done. And it should be noted, the qualifying was held in very wet conditions earlier this morning. These are now merely damp conditions. So cars that were fast this morning, no guarantee that they're going to be as strong here this later on this morning as we approach the noon hour here in Indianapolis.
And there is the aforementioned Ethan Goulart. He is going to be starting from pit lane following that penalty issued yesterday. And there we've got a very special guest. This is Erica Worthen, operations manager for McGavick Outdoor Power in Noblesville. They are a local company here allied with RVA Graphics Motorsport by Speed Syndicate and Spike Colbecker. We are very happy to have them. All of their stuff powered by Vanguard engines, which you see on the side of Spike's car. Well, Ryan, here we go down into the corner. I don't think we're going to have to worry too much about weather being a problem here. A little bit of a damp track, but what are you going to be watching out for?
I'm going to see if anyone's willing to make it 3 or 4 wide going into turn 1. It looks so inviting. It's wide on entry, but boy, does it funnel down at the apex. And yes, you might be able to fit 4 wide at the beginning of the corner, but you got to get it sorted out by the middle.
For the first time in his GR Cup career, Henry Drury will lead the field around to green. The PT Auto Sport with Copeland Motorsports driver looking towards the flag stand. There we have it ready to go. They get ready to enter into the acceleration zone and ready for that magic moment. Green flag flying, and we are racing here from Indianapolis. It is a big getaway there from Henry Drury. Contact between Robusto, Workman, and Weisenberg.
That'll bunch the field up behind. That'll allows Drury to pull away a little bit. It is 3 wide, maybe even 4 wide further back in the pack. Who's that making a huge lunge in the blue car midway through? Car 7, that's Jackson Bell, making up for lost ground.
We were worried how he was going to respond after that big crash yesterday. He is just as tenacious as ever, fighting his way back through the field. That contact up at the front doesn't appear to have damaged any of the lead cars. Still 2 wide between Ford Koch there, and that's also going to be Parker DeLong. They've got to sort themselves out before the time they get to turns 5 and 6. Now on to Holman Boulevard.
That was awesome from Jackson. Picked up 4 spots in one move. He's now inside the top 10, and he's got to go if he's going to hang on in that battle for the 2nd spot of the championship.
Will Robusto, big move down to the inside. Lucas Weisenberg as well. Henry Drury with a brilliant crossover. That's Robusto off into the grass. Drury holds on to the top position, and that is Will Robusto having to take what will end up being a very long cut through the grass.
Oh, but he rejoins right in the middle of this battle pack. That's really tight. 89 of Galanti, and don't know that he loved that. Gave a little love tap to make sure that that message was delivered, but mercifully everybody able to continue on.
And here is Jackson Bell side by side with Ford Koch. Now Bell's going to have a look to the inside of Spike Kolbecker going down into the corner. Thankfully didn't make contact there with the number 22 of Jeremy Fletcher. Bell didn't get the move done. Now Koch fighting back to the inside of turn 13. And now here comes, look at this, Parker DeLong. Everybody swapping and swapping positions.
This is awesome stuff. Everyone's still figuring out these conditions in real time. Remember, yeah, they've had a couple of pace laps, but they really don't know exactly what kind of grip is available on these Continental tires at this stage at speed until now. Somehow, 1 lap in the books, but the battle is on for the lead.
Lucas Weisenberg looking to what will be the inside of turn 2 on Henry Drury. Drury drives the car in deep. Weisenberg gets the advantage, banging doors side to side, and that is Weston Workman saying thank you very much, and that's the kind of calm, cool, collected heads-up maneuver we've seen Workman pull time and time again.
Isn't that the story of the season? Weston keeping his powder dry, lets the chaos happen around him. When the door opens up, he pops on through, and with that, takes the lead of the race. Full course yellow is out here on lap number 2, and that will freeze the field with Workman leading Weisenberg, Drury, Fletcher, and Kolbecker the top 5, and this is the reason for the caution.
Yeah, that's a big piece of debris right in the middle of the racing line in turn 1. Great decision by race control. That has a real potential to cut some of these Continental tires, and that, of course, is the last thing you want to have happen. Okay, Henry Drury maybe a little bit muscled out of the way there, I think, by Weisenberg, but availed himself very well early on.
As expected, again, he had yesterday to get back in the rhythm of things. It's not like he's been out of a race car entirely this year. He just hasn't been in this series and not racing with the regularity that he would prefer, but has done some pretty neat things, racing Ginettas, racing as well at the Nürburgring this year. But what a qualifying performance to get him up at the front, and he can play spoiler here today with the kind of pace that he's shown.
Yeah, as you said, Bell, Kolbecker, Weisenberg, Robusto, and Goulart all in with a stone's throw of that 2nd place finish. Drury obviously has a one-off entry here, ostensibly not really able to be involved in that, so he is just racing for everything that he can, probably wanting to walk away with a little bit of hardware. Got to give credit, though, to Jackson Bell. You mentioned it when it was happening, Ryan. Already up to 6th place, the Copeland Motorsports driver just absolutely driving lights out.
That's a lap and a half that it took him to go 8 positions forward on this grid. Qualified 14th, now running in the 6th spot. And again, this is big because he's in the middle of a battle for second in the championship. Coming into this race, he had a 4-point advantage over Spike Kohlbecker, yesterday's winner, and just a 5-point advantage over Weisenberg, and then Will Robusto was a further 10 points back. Ethan Goulart, this caution is great news for him. Remember, he had to start from the pit lane. He was much delayed. This will bring him back to the field once again and let him maybe fight his way through, but he's only got an outside chance. He has all those other drivers he needs to clear, and he finds himself now 15 points out of second in the championship after the disappointing day yesterday.
Looks like we're going to take a look at the replay. This is Bell diving down in on Spike Kohlbecker. There's the contact. I think that may be the right side skirt from Kohlbecker. I think that's where it is. We'll get a look here as he comes through the corner. It's the yellow machine on your screen. Yep, that's it. That's exactly who it's from.
Good eye there, DJ. The yellow certainly helped.
Well, yeah.
But nevertheless, you were spot on. That is exactly the part of the car that had been ripped off. Shouldn't cause too much of a trouble other than this delay, but the safety car has jetted off, which means we are now moments away from a restart.
All right, Weston Workman going to be back in control of the field, weaving back and forth, trying to clean up a little bit of those Continental tires, if at all possible. Keep an eye on the fourth place car here, the black and day glow of Jeremy Fletcher. He has been lights out since he joined us in the series back at Road America. He could be one that could be looking for a big run at this start. Also keep an eye on the blue and white of Jackson Bell. We've already been singing his praises early on. Restart zone starts earlier than the start zone, so watch for Weston Workman to get on this a little bit early. There he goes onto the loud pedal. Henry Drury gets a little bit of a slide there, and that may open up the door for Fletcher, especially if Kohlbecker gives him a little bit of a punch.
Might have bonked Fletcher a little bit too. I think it's Kohlbecker who has the big head of steam, but he elects to stay in line and push and try and help the Copeland car move on through. But here comes Jackson Bell. He gets a huge draft, pops out to the outside, and he'll make it 3 wide in a bid for potentially third place down into turn 1.
He's going to stick to the inside there of the 22 of Jeremy Fletcher. He's got the inside line through there. Contact in the back between the 5 and Ford Koch, and there's cars around. And that is going to be the 5 of Beltray Curtis, and I also saw, I believe, one of the Tovos.
Wow, that is so frustrating, but it does bunch up there in that corner. That is traditional here at this racetrack. We continue under green for the moment. How about this move, though, from Jackson Bell to pick up all those spots? He's coming under attack now, though, down Holman Boulevard. Has to try and settle back in. He's dropped back into 4th now behind Fletcher.
Drury shuffled down to being side by side with Spike Kohlbecker. That's going to be about for the 6th position. Kohlbecker able to get the advantage ahead. Parker DeLong looking in behind Drury as well. Bell has moved his way up to 4th, and we still have Beltray Curtis stopped on track. Looks like the number 5 is finally rolling now.
Well, that's good. Hopefully he can clear the accident zone and we can stay green. Didn't catch which exactly of the other cars it was that was caught up in the mess. Might have been Ethan Tovo, possibly. You thought it was one of the brothers, and that is one that has dropped down the order, so that would be my supposition.
All right, there we see Isabella Robusto, and we check back in on her brother. That's Will Robusto, side by side with Ford Koch. This is going to be a battle for 8th place position. Great run there for Robusto around the outside. Meanwhile, in front of them, side by side between Drury and DeLong. That's Drury to driver's left, DeLong to driver's right. A lot of mud kicked up on the front of Parker DeLong's machine, and it looks like Drury's got the advantage, but here comes Kohlbecker on Bell for P4.
That's a good fight here into turn 1. Kohlbecker around the outside. This is a track he'll know well from his open wheel days. Able to make that pass stick. So 4th and 5th place is changing hands. Put Kohlbecker up a spot.
Kohlbecker into 5th place. He'll hope to be able to go 4 more up and repeat what he did yesterday. Late maneuver there by Will Robusto on Henry Drury going down through turn 4. Not always an overtaking opportunity, but Drury getting caught a little bit napping there, I think.
As they run, Weisenberg would have taken 2nd place in the championship by virtue of the fact he's leading this race. he'll be keeping that in the back of his mind, but he's really close still. Bell and Kohlbecker swapping those spots around. They're only 2 points apart at the moment and only a few points adrift of second.
Here is a replay of that spin that we saw. You can see the 113 and the 5 on the right-hand side. Looks like the 5 gets a little bit sideways and then just catches on the front there of Jackson Tovo, unfortunately. That's Ethan and Jackson both involved in the same incident.
Frustrating for the whole family, I'm sure, but the good news for us at least is that the incident has cleared. We stay green, and now the battle's resuming. That's 8th and 9th swapping hands. Jackson Tovo, Henry Drury swapping positions. Drury, the pole sitter, has fallen back now into 9th place.
And this may be a situation where, as you talked about, Ryan, very wet conditions this morning. Henry just having a better feel for what that track was like and maybe falling back a little bit through the order. Could also be setup related as well.
Well, selfishly, this makes it easier for me to calculate points because Drury comes into this weekend as a one-off entry. Consequently, he is invisible for points. And so that would have made some of the permutations a little bit messy. But when he drops behind some of these protagonists fighting for second place, we don't have to factor that in, and the margin for error is reduced significantly.
Battle right now up at the front of the field. This is Jeremy Fletcher and Spike Kohlbecker for third. You can see Weisenberg and Workman leading this group. Jackson Bell lurking in the wings in fifth. The way Jackson's been driving, I can guarantee you he wants Jeremy and Spike Kohlbecker to absolutely go at it hammer and tongs to be able to try to find an advantage to get by. Kohlbecker, though, just set the fastest lap of the race. He's going to be one to watch out for. We know he's got pace around here. He won yesterday.
Yeah, it was a really imperious performance, wasn't it, from Spike Kohlbecker. Did what he needed to do, got to the front, and really stayed in control there. And it's a special weekend for him, too, with all the partners that are here this weekend. Saw one of them up at the flag stand today. Same yesterday, too. So a lot of friends and family here as well, cheering him on from just down the road in St. Louis.
And you can see again as he comes through the right there is that chunk of the side skirt that has been taken off the 55 of Spike Kohlbecker. Probably not going to affect him too much. Really, the only time we think about that affecting a driver is when it's still attached but sort of dragging on the ground.
No, that's not the case here. It was thrown clear of the car, brought out the only full course yellow of the race so far. Kohlbecker, though, looked a little bit vulnerable to me coming up onto the front straightaway. And indeed, Jackson Bell has a nice run coming from the 5th spot, looking to challenge perhaps for 4th, but we have a challenge for the lead to cover first as Workman knifes to the inside, trying to get around Weisenberg, and he'll do so.
He will do so. A little bit of contact there. Bell not able to say the same about Spike Kohlbecker. And for a second there, it looked like Lucas Weisenberg was going to be in the clutches of Jeremy Fletcher, but able to hold that off for now. Top 5 starting to break away a little bit to the tune of about 1.5 seconds over Will Robusto. This is what we tend to see in these Toyota GR Cup North America races, that it does break out a little bit like this. All of that said, though, Will Robusto just setting the fastest lap of the race. We know he's got speed. Here comes Fletcher down to the inside of Weisenberg. Weisenberg turns that to go offensive onto Weston Workman. It's all to play for in these top 5.
Gotta love the fight at the front of this field. This is what it's like all year. If you're new to this and you're liking what you're seeing, then now you know what you've been missing all season long. The competition close, fierce, all throughout the course of the season in Toyota GR Cup. Right now, it's the champion-elect Weston Workman, but only by a fraction, leading Lucas Weisenberg.
Defensive line for Spike Kohlbecker in 4th. Jackson Bell goes around the outside, tries to look for the crossover. Doesn't exactly have it there. All of that squabbling has allowed for Will Robusto to catch up to the back of this group. Now it's Weisenberg, almost maybe a little bit of a love tap there to the back of Weston Workman. Workman got a little squirrely. They come on to the front straightaway, and this is going to be Weisenberg just holding behind in this draft as long as possible. And you can see there a little bit of the wrap on Weisenberg's car flapping as a result of some of the contact that he's made to front. Defensive line there for Jackson Bell in the back.
It was, and that's flirting with what the stewards will want to take a look at. You can't move in reaction. That did look proactive to me, but you got to be careful with moves like that. That's what, you can sometimes come under scrutiny for blocking for things that are a little bit more egregious than that. It wasn't enough to hold up Robusto anyway, as Will's able to sneak around.
Top 4 and a little bit of a breakaway now. Top 5, excuse me. Robusto in that battle back there with Jackson Bell slowed him down a little bit. Bell gets a great run out of 5 and 6. We could see him poke to the inside. Defensive line from Weisenberg, as that's going to force Jeremy Fletcher to go to the outside. He's going to take a look. I don't think he's quite got the overlap to make it play. But now Kohlbecker's going to try to take a look as well on Fletcher. That won't work. Still trying to find something if he can. And now Kohlbecker looks to the outside, tries to get a little bit of a wider radius there through turn 10, maybe try to get a sneak attack down into 11.
So impressed with Fletcher and how quick of a study he's been since coming to this championship. Joined mid-season, already a single-make champion in North America. Just 1 week ago, clinched that title. And different cars, certainly, when he jumps in here. Style of racing is similar to some degree. Some of the same philosophy applies, but he has been on the pace right away with some of the top folks that have been racing in these cars for a long time.
Yeah, it's been really impressive to see what he has been able to do. And Parker DeLong also in that camp, although he is down in 7th place as things run. All right, now it's a move that we are very familiar with here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The Dragon move coming down here from Weston Workman. And Ryan, you're checking something here.
Yeah, I think we have a penalty issued. Incident prior to green flag on restart. Car 22.
That's Fletcher.
Okay, given a 5-second post-race time penalty.
All right, that's going to really upset the apple cart in this order, as that will drop him as they run. That'll drop Fletcher all the way down to about 7th, 8th position.
Yikes. Yeah, and the field's this tight. A 5-second penalty can feel like a massive penalty to carry around. But Fletcher will try and recover from that as best as he can. His best hope is to try and get to the front and pull as big of a gap as possible, ahead of as much of the field as possible. But chances are any hopes of getting the win today are gone with that 5-second penalty hanging around his neck.
Well, and it looks like his chances of maybe at the win as Kohlbecker spends a move down into turn 10. Not going to play out. His chances are maybe fading a little bit because Workman and Weisenberg are starting to create a gap on the rest of this field. But here comes Robusto on Kohlbecker. Going to try the outside down into turn 12. Bell's going to make it 3 wide. Nope, thinks better of it.
That was probably the prudent choice given the circumstances there. Jackson Bell settles back in line. What a recovery from Robusto. We saw him way off track on the second lap of the race. He dropped outside of the top 10 at that point and has raced his way back inside the top 5. Similar story, Ethan Goulart started from the pit lane. That yellow was just what he needed to get back in the mix. Ethan shown 14th, just outside of the points right now.
And Jackson Tovo now makes this 3 wide down the front straightaway. It's a perfect cross formation as they come down into the braking zone for turn 1. Robusto figuring out where to brake. Tovo way down to the inside, 3 into 1, doesn't mix. There's a little bit of contact, but everybody makes it through okay. I am very impressed by that. A little bit of a shot from Tovo to the back of Spike Kohlbecker, and now coming back along is Parker DeLong trying to make a move here into turn 4 on Jackson Bell.
And DeLong really similar to Fletcher in the sense that he joined the championship midway through the season, has other experience in cars that are similar to this, but it's not the same. He's been dropped right in and immediately been on the pace as well, running inside the top 5 regularly. Super impressive up against some of the veterans of the championship.
Jackson Tovo making Spike Kohlbecker go a little bit defensive. That's actually going to open up an opportunity. No, it's not. It's going to shut the door, and now it's going to open up an opportunity for Jackson Bell, who's able to sweep through 8 and 9, maybe get this line coming through turn 10. But Jackson Tovo with a big slide. Parker DeLong and Jackson Bell recognize it, and we're 3 wide once again.
This is awesome, and I think some of this is opened up by the fact that the track is damp. You've got varying degrees of grip, no matter depending on where on the racetrack you position your car. The car is slipping and sliding even more than usual, and it has led to some absolutely thrilling stuff here over the last 10 minutes.
And great job there by Parker DeLong to be able to get that position, but Jackson Bell, we know his hunger, we know what he wants to do. He is pushing right now. This may be timing it right onto the main straightaway. We've seen when you are stacked up against the car in front, it's almost like you stall out a little bit. You just run out of room to go.
Well, right now, it's Bell in the slipstream, pokes the nose to the outside. Weisenberg, tired of waiting, maybe because he's seeing Fletcher start to close in, puts the move on Workman there down into turn number 1. And those two back nose to tail again, but in the opposite positions.
And Jackson Tovo barely going to be able to get a nose there ahead of Parker DeLong, so that's going to be Bell in 7th, Jackson Tovo 8th. And then we watch here as Lucas Weisenberg brought his way forward. Didn't really see a fight by Workman. Going to take a look at a replay here farther back in the field. This is Patrick Brunson. No, excuse me. Ooh, that's Carl Foreman and a big send around there for the number 11 machine. Wow, that was a big spin.
That was Farron Davis who was tipped around on that spin.
All right, well, Weston Workman has been demoted down into 2nd place. Lucas Weisenberg up to the front. And as I was saying earlier, it didn't really look like Workman fought it that much. I think he's in good stead to keep his way ahead. He knows where he wants to be. And there we see Spike Kohlbecker taking a look down to the inside of Will Robusto. Big hop, skip and a jump over the curves.
That was aggressive. We've seen Spike use that a few times over the course of this race, and it seems to work just fine. The car's not suffering from it, it would appear, and he was able to use it to his advantage there to claim 4th place once again.
Yeah, it's a good move, and Kohlbecker now, I think, probably wants to just build a little bit of a gap over Robusto and focus in for the next 10 to 15 minutes. He's got about 2 seconds to try to gain up to this group as now Workman tries to move up to the inside. That's a little bit more aggressive than I've seen out of Weston in a while. A little bit of brake smoke coming out as well. I think he's feeling the pressure from Fletcher as well.
Maybe so, but they have to remember Fletcher's carrying that penalty with him, the 5-second time penalty. So he can get by, and as long as they stick to his bumper, it doesn't matter. That is still a position that you can win this race from.
Yeah, so they've got to keep that in mind, and that's going to go back to the Lucas Racing team and the BSI team to inform their driver of that. Make sure that they are aware that they don't want to scrap too hard and allow for the likes of Spike Kohlbecker to come back in it. But clearly, they're going to fight this out to the end. Weisenberg looking for a crossover on Workman. He's going to have the outside line down into 8. It should come back to favor him in 9. Weisenberg gives up the ghost there. Fletcher just holding in behind, stalking his prey in front of him.
Great 3-car battle at the front. These 3 really, if they can stay single file, maybe they could pull the gap and leave the rest of the pack and let make it so it's a fight amongst themselves. That would actually behoove Fletcher as well. The more he can gap the rest of the field, the less that 5-second penalty will cost him. But he's not thinking about that right now. He instead makes a lunge to the inside, maybe even puts a fender to the back bumper of Weisenberg, and that allows Workman to jet away for the moment.
Yeah, that's going to be good for Weston. He's not going to have to look at his rearview mirrors coming into the braking zone for turn 1. He's going to be able to stay straight ahead and get the ideal line that he wants. He is doing a little bit of that weaving down the front straightaway, just trying to break the draft.
Weaving back and forth, doing his best to break that slipstream, but it's not enough. Here comes Spike Kohlbecker. He's caught this group, and he's bringing Will Robusto with him. It's now 5 cars in a breakaway at the front of this train, with Weston Workman leading the way.
Fastest lap of the race just set by Spike Kohlbecker, who has caught up to this battle. Remember, we said if he got ahead of Robusto, this is exactly where he wanted to be. Now, this is not good for the likes of Workman and Weisenberg. As we said earlier, they don't technically have to worry about Jeremy Fletcher with that 5-second time penalty. Flash of the headlights here up ahead as they're closing in on some lap traffic. That's Ramon Lano. They're going to want to let him know. Fletcher trying to make a move on Weisenberg.
Works the outside lane. Weisenberg gives him a car width to the outside. That now becomes the inside here for this next sequence. Yano gives plenty of room to the outside to let the leaders in this battle cycle through to the inside, but contact is made. Somehow they both end up pointing in the right direction. Robusto, with a head full of steam, actually comes through and will take 3 spots for the price of 1.
Great heads up there from Will Robusto. Probably just a dab of the brakes to make sure he wasn't going to get any damage on the nose of that number 2. But I can guarantee you Lucas Weisenberg's going to be a little bit hot under that collar. Watch out for what that 46 does next.
That was an amazing save.
It was.
That car was fully sideways, perpendicular to the racetrack, and maybe got another tap to get pointed back in the right direction.
All right, now Kohlbecker, who also was able to avoid the most of that melee, he's going to line up behind, but look at this. Look how far Weston Workman is out in front. Call that gap 3.2 seconds. Kohlbecker says, I think I've got the pace to chase him down. Oh, Weisenberg!
Wow. That is a huge puff of smoke. We don't see that out of these cars, and immediately Weisenberg pulls to the inside and will try and park that car in a safe area. But look at how little visibility there is on the front straightaway, and you have to wonder if there's fluid down on the track.
I would have to think with a plume that big, and yes, full course yellow is displayed. So this will bunch the field back up. It will solidify everyone for the moment. Workman will leave. That big gap he had erased.
Wow. The other thing this does is it brings Ethan Goulart into the conversation. He had fought his way up inside the top 10, shown in 8th, but he was 22 seconds behind the leaders. So he suddenly is in the mix. This was a few moments ago. This was that unbelievable moment. How this wasn't a bigger accident, I do not know. But then it all came unglued for Weisenberg a few quarters later.
I have to think that that incident and that plume of smoke is related in some way. But yeah, the yellow not out for that incident is for that big plume of smoke that we saw out of the back of Lucas Weisenberg. And as you pointed out, Ryan, Weisenberg smartly pulling off to the side. But look at this. Got a little rain on our camera.
Yeah, and Amanda just sent me a text saying the wind has picked up and there are some sprinkles now out on the racetrack. So these track conditions are set to change once again.
Could this maybe come back and favor Henry Drury once more? He has fallen down through the order quite a bit here at this point, unfortunately, but we'll have to see.
I think there's a theory that perhaps because the car was really good in qualifying, that if it were to rain and rain significantly, that could be to his advantage. I do not know what tires people started on, if they started on slicks or if they started on wets. I suspect it was wets. But in any case, if it does rain hard, even a wet tire this deep into a race probably has been pretty well used up and won't be ideal for the rain either. But that is only if we get more significant rain. Right now, it's only sprinkles being reported.
But that wind that Amanda also reported is something else we have to consider. When you're coming down these straightaways, whether it's the long 5/8 of a mile main straightaway or Holman Boulevard, a headwind or a tailwind in lower horsepower cars such as these is going to increase the efficacy of the draft big time.
Yeah, it's true. That's something they'll have to adapt to as we go. Weisenberg dropping out, by the way. This takes a car that was in the fight for second in points out of contention there, and it's likely to drop him outside of the top 5 entirely. That's how close they were. Remember, we had 5 cars separated by just 15 points fighting for second place coming into this race, and scoring no points, he would be on 136, and it depends on what Goulart does here, but there is a chance that even Goulart could possibly supplant him and drop him outside of the top 5.
Well, Goulart, as you said, up into 8th position now after starting at the back of the field with that pit lane start. I've got to think he's going to be able to get involved in this battle and move his way forward. We know he's quick, we know he's got the speed, and he certainly is one that I'm going to have my eye on when we restart this race.
It should be noted, the reason he had to start from the pit lane is he was judged to have been at fault in the contact that also eliminated Jackson Bell from the race yesterday, and it was a big crash for Jackson. He was a little banged up from what I understand, and the car certainly needed a lot of repairs. It looks a lot different today than it did yesterday.
Just a little bit.
And that really put Jackson's second place in the points in jeopardy. I'm trying to do some tabulations. Right now, I think he would be 3rd as they run. He would score 4th place points because Fletcher has that 5-second time penalty, so that would jump Jackson up to 4th as they run. But he would be overhauled by Kohlbecker at the moment, who sits 2nd and would score 2 points. You'd be 2 points to good, effectively, in that battle for 2nd place.
Well, you bring up a great point. This yellow is about the last thing as Roman Lano coming down into pit lane. We'll see what that is. But this is not good for Jeremy Fletcher. Bunching the field up like this, it's going to force him farther back down in the order, and he could end up outside of the top 10.
Absolutely could. Anytime you're carrying one of those time penalties, the last thing you want is a safety car to bunch the field up again and erase the gap that you have built. And even more so, the worst case scenario would be if the race were to end behind the safety car, because then you've got this big train, everybody bunched together going at a relatively slow speed, and that can cost you half a dozen positions or more quite easily. And even the position he is in right now, I think he would drop, right outside the top 10 as they run under yellow, depending on exactly what the margins would be if the race were to end right now.
Well, we've got 16 and a half minutes thereabouts left to go in this race, so hopefully we're not going to be ending under yellow. And we take a look at the Toyota GR86 safety car. The lights are still on at this point, so again, the course workers here at IMS just making sure everything is safe with smoke that large on the main straightaway. Ryan, you hit the nail on the head. Definitely have to watch out for that any fluid didn't get laid down.
Now, the smoke is coming from somewhere. Something is burning or rubbing. Don't think that was a tire rub with the amount of smoke that we saw. So that would indicate that something was burning, and that's usually a fluid. But again, we'll let the track crew do what they do best, get to the bottom of that, get it taken care of. And if we can get this race restarted, I guarantee that we will.
Yeah, I know we'll be headed back to it. There is Weisenberg's car. We are seeing a message here from race control that the incident is under review between car 46 and 22.
So is that the one we saw down in turn 1?
Yeah, that's what...
No, it's not. Sorry, that was the Weisenberg incident in what, turn 10?
Yeah.
Okay. And the other car involved was 22.
That is
Fletcher again, who's already carrying a penalty. Okay.
So day could go bad to worse here for Jeremy Fletcher, but we'll see what race control has to say about that. That may be a situation where they want to take a look at video cards, and that will be assessed post-race.
As was the case yesterday with the Jackson Bell, Ethan Goulart contretemps, that they ultimately felt like they didn't have enough to rule on in the moment, and that ruling then was handed down after the fact and had a carryover, of course, into today's race with Ethan starting from the pit lane, which he's recovered from nicely. He's had a few things break his way with the initial safety car after he'd already made up a bunch of ground, and then this one also, if we get restarted, has him sitting in a strong position to make another charge once again.
Yeah, and I mean, the one counter that I will give to that is that he is now up in the meat of the field, the hard part of the field to pass. And so we may not see the same sort of meteoric rise that we saw out of Goulart, but it's going to be very fun to see him really slicing and dicing with these drivers like Parker DeLong, Jackson Tovo, Jackson Bell. This is going to be fun.
I think so too. Shape it up to be a fun shootout to the checkered flag here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We've got second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth in points up for grabs at this stage. We also have the privilege of getting to win at Indianapolis up for grabs and kissing those bricks, a tradition that dates back to 1996 when Dale Jarrett won the Brickyard 400.
Exactly. Not one of those things that some people often forget. That
it was a NASCAR tradition.
Yeah, exactly. But it came from that, and it has now been incorporated into sort of all forms of racing here at Indianapolis. I hope we go back to green here shortly. Otherwise, Ryan and I are going to start talking Indianapolis facts for the foreseeable future.
Challenge accepted.
There is Ramon Lano. He's going to head back out onto track. So I think that was probably just an issue where he was a lap down, wanted to get everything formed up. And we have good news. You don't have to hear us talk about Indy too much longer because we're going back to racing. Weston Workman having control of the field. Despite Kohlbecker behind, Will Robusto comes out of turn 13. Ready to get onto the loud pedal in the middle of turn 14. Again, this is up to Workman's go, and there he goes indeed. As we get back to green flag conditions, have to wait until the start-finish line to be able to officially effect a pass. A little bit of weaving here. The dragon move in play for Weston Workman. There comes a move for Fletcher. He's going to try to go to the outside of Will Robusto.
Well, he has to go because not only does he have a penalty, but there's also a review that he's got to contend with here too. But he gets stuck on the outside here. Jackson Bell sees the door open in front of him, and he pounces. He is through up to third place. What a charge here today by Jackson Bell.
Yeah, and I think that was actually helped a little bit by maybe a shot from behind from Jackson Tovo, as it looked like he was giving him a little bit of a bump. So Bell now into good position. There's Goulart. We mentioned him a little bit earlier, the 72, right in the thick of this battle. But no attacks up in front from Kohlbecker. He's still sizing up Workman side by side farther back between Parker DeLong and Ethan Goulart.
Well, the Damocletian concerns for Jeremy Fletcher are through. No more is the sword dangling over him. He's been handed a drive-through penalty for that most recent incident, and we've got another incident unfolding in front of us.
And that was, I couldn't see who it was, but I heard a lockup into Goulart, Jackson Tovo involved in it, and I think Parker DeLong as well. Oh, and side around goes Peyton Fan.
And got tagged as well after being spun. I think the 0-3 got a piece of that. That's Foreman. Boy, chaotic restart here. Weston Workman thrilled, I think, to be at the front of this and not have to be stuck in the middle. And Peyton Fan on the wet grass is in some strife.
And that's the 57 there. That's Curry that looks like he is stationary. Hopefully that car will be able to get restarted. And for Kohlbecker, he has got to be on the loud pedal because he knows that there is a potential yellow flag, and there it is. Oh, yeah, that 57 of Jeff Curry is not going anywhere.
That one is stuck. Jeff Curry, major left front damage to the 57. Car shown 24th at the time. Fletcher, ooh, did he get in the pit lane before this yellow?
I believe he did.
You think so?
I
Okay.
believe he did, yes.
That would be good news if the race were to restart. It would at least give him a chance to get back in the fight. My only question is the 5-second penalty post-race still pending, or did that get folded in or upgraded to this drive-through? I don't know the answer to that.
That's a good question. I will have to consult with race control and race stewards to kind of find out.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure it's going to matter at this point. I'm not sure there would be enough time for him to recover to get into the points anyway, and it's not like he's in that points battle, but nevertheless, that is a question that I would be curious to get an answer to.
There's Jeff Curry out of the car. I think that's, yes, that is Beltray Curtis giving him a hand there. Again, this is the sportsmanship, the competitiveness that we see in the series, making sure everybody's all right. Medical car arriving on scene as it is required to do if contact is made. Ryan doing some math here. I'll let you stick to that. But Workman leads from Kohlbecker. Bell with that incredible move into turn one. And then Robusto and Drury back up into the top 5.
Yep, which complicates my points again, but that's all right, Henry. It's a good run for you, and I'm happy for you. Let's look at this again. I'll let you.
Jackson Tovo. Ford Koch may have gotten into the back there of Jackson Tovo and kind of started that whole chain reaction. I have to see another angle of that to make sure. You see a slow car there, and it looks like that was the 03 of Peyton Fan. Now, I'm not sure how we got those other cars. My gut instinct, Goulart also off as well. My gut instinct here, Ryan, is that we saw another stack up really through turns 8 and 9 as a result of Fan and cars rejoining from that incident.
Yeah, I think you might be onto something there. It was pretty chaotic, and I'm afraid this could be a lengthy cleanup with so many stranded cars. That move from Bell to get to third place, by my math, was crucial. Third place is enough for 15 points. He came in with a 4-point advantage over Kohlbecker, and it's a 3-point swing between second and third. So it's just enough. By 1 point, he would have second place in the standings here on the final weekend of the season.
My goodness gracious. And I know Jackson will be disappointed that he wasn't able to claim the title. He really felt like this was his year. But being able to claim second will certainly be something he can hang his hat on. There's Carl Foreman, by the way, who was involved in that as well in the 03. But it will be something he can hang his hat on. He will hold himself with pride for it, and he should, especially for moves like we saw him throw into turn 1.
Oh, certainly so. His talent was on full display. I'd like to point out it's also just 1 point in the fight for 4th and 5th. Weisenberg out of the race will not score points. Robusto right now in 4th would be 1 point shy of jumping to 4th place. And Goulart's only a few points behind, even though he's not set to score here. Yeah, so it looks like he's pretty much locked into 6th, as I understand it.
My goodness. Incidents at turns 7 through 9 will be reviewed post-race from race control. I think that's probably the right call here.
Well, maybe there's too many to sift through and not enough time. So I think that might be the only choice, given the circumstances. And again, just don't know what the odds are of getting this race back underway. Right now we're doing safety car laps at just over 2 minutes. And there's still quite a few cars to attend to. doesn't take too many more laps behind the safety car to run out this 6 minutes and 45 seconds, which Jackson Bell, I'm sure, would be just fine with, as he's in the position to take home second place.
And I'm sure Weston Workman would be pretty okay with it as well. The chance to kiss the bricks, as we said a little bit earlier. You know, obviously, if you are a Spike Colbeck or a Will Robusto, you're going to want to get up and go. I think also for Henry Drury, after those big incidents, I mean, he just gained 5 positions since the restart pretty much, and I think there's a little bit more fight left behind the wheel of that PT Autosport with Copeland Motorsports machine.
It's true. I mean, it's been a really fun story here this weekend to have Henry back. I kid about the points complications thing. That really is insignificant. For Henry, though, I mean, again, another chance to showcase his quality. And I love what PT Autosport has done, this scholarship that they've developed to find an up-and-coming driver with talent, but without necessarily the means to showcase it and to provide a platform, provide an opportunity. With it, some coaching as well. It's not like you're just chucking someone to promise into a seat. There's a lot of help along the way, too. And I think this is a program that can have a long and lasting legacy many years down the road when you look at the bright future their graduates have.
Yeah, and I think, you know, the most recent one that we saw kind of come in the form of Max Stallone really, really impressed us as well. Right from the downbeat, absolute on his way. Car 03 has been given a post-race penalty. Carl Foreman, that will be a post-race drive-through equivalent. So, Ryan, help me with that a little bit.
Basically, they'll convert the drive-through penalty into a post-race time penalty.
Okay.
So the amount of time it takes to transit down the pit lane, roughly a minute, is what that gets turned into.
And this is, again, that replay. Now, watch on the right of your screen, Ford Koch, Jackson Tovo, those two machines. Yeah, Koch locked up a little bit, got into the back of, no, it was Drury he got into the back of. Excuse me. And that's what sent all of that through, that cascade that was coming through. Jackson Tovo taken out as a result of that. Peyton Fayen there getting into, and I think that, yes, that is the 03 there of Carl Foreman, and that's what set off everything here.
Yeah, that's the second wave, if you will, of chaos that erupted, but it was a direct consequence of the first. Getting closer, perhaps, to a clean racetrack. It won't be this time by, but there still would be time for, I think, 2 laps at speed if this were to be the final safety car lap.
We'll see. Remember, the safety car does depart onto what we would call Indy Turn 2, the oval Turn 2. So, just on the back straightaway, keep your eyes on that light on the top of the GR86 safety car to see if it will stay on or go out. If it goes out, there are 6 more weeks of winter, and we will continue on.
Exactly. Well, the staff here at the Speedway are top-notch.
Oh, the best.
So much practice, and this is a busy place these days. It's not like it was pre-1994 where there was one event a year here at the Speedway. Now this place is used a lot, and as a consequence, that group is frequently at work, get to hone their craft and their skill, and it is a skill. We thank them for it. Thanks as well to all the corner marshals positioned around the track out in suboptimal conditions here today and braving the weather for us. The vigor with which the cars are weaving back and forth is indicative perhaps of a restart. Maybe I'm just getting my hopes up.
The lights do remain on that safety car.
Could still be time for a one-lap shootout potentially.
We'll have to see. 2 minutes, 30 seconds left on the clock. Incident involving cars 5 and 8 is under review. So that's Beltray Curtis. And then the number 8 is Tom Rudney.
Okay. This must have been in the same time frame. Curtis is shown as having completed 17 laps, which is the same as all the others that just dropped out in this incident that brought out the full course yellow. That must have been in the middle of all of that as well. Where is Tom? Currently 19th and having a decent day in that Legends class. On the back of Gilliland.
Lights do remain on. Let's take a look here at the flag stand. White flag is in the air.
I retract my statement. There wasn't going to be enough time to get another lap in behind the safety car. So, yeah, this is the way this one's going to end. Means another win for Workman. And by my math, at least, it should lock Jackson Bell into second in points by just a single point.
It's a great result for Jackson. It's a great, obviously, result for Weston. We have already been incredibly complimentary of the season that he has had. And I know both you and I and Amanda have all kind of talked to him at different points. He's been a little coy, but he says he's got some things in motion for next year, and we're very excited to see what that's going to be.
Well, you look at the way that this series has promoted talent in the past, and to have the last two GR Cup champions racing together in GT4 America, that's a special thing. To see Jackson Bell and Ford Koch get a chance to go GT4 racing over at IMSA this year, that's been a really fun thing as well. And clearly, Toyota is looking after its own. They see this as a wellspring of future factory talent. And I think other manufacturers, too, would be wise to take a look at some of the top drivers here. There aren't always going to be seats within the Toyota family, but this has been a success in terms of promoting drivers out of single make racing to the next stage in their career in a short amount of time.
Well, and I love what they've done with the WEC's highest finishing legend as well, that saying, yes, we want to promote these young guns that are coming up, looking at the Workmans and the Gonzaleses and the Wagners, as well as the Tovos, who are still in their teenage years, but also saying, these cars are just fun to drive, so if you want to come in and have a good time, have at it.
Livio Galanti, a top 10 overall finish as the best placed Legends driver, too.
Yeah, great one for Livio. That's a really good result for him. Rutledge won, top 15. He'll be very pleased with that for Precision Racing LA. There will be no driver that is more pleased than Weston Workman. He is a champion of the series in 2025, and most importantly, he gets to take the most special of checkered flags, and that being the one at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
What a way to cap off a championship season. And we go back to the beginning of the year. I remember reading some quotes from the team saying, yeah, it's a new team for Weston. We expect him to perform, and quite frankly, he needs to win some races. And wow, that's some pressure to throw at the young man. I don't think he needs to be reminded that he needs to win races. He's been there or thereabouts in the first 2 years of his career, but just hadn't quite punched through. But we saw it happen at Sebring, didn't we? And you just wondered, would the floodgates open up at that moment? Once you get that first win, it's a proof positive that you know how to do it. And my goodness, has that been the case for Weston Workman, because he has been a force of nature ever since.
And we believe, Ryan, as you've done the math, that I think it's Spike Kohlbecker that has come third place in the championship. Jackson Bell has been able to claim P2.
That is my understanding, by a single point. They would be on 156 and 155 points respectively, as I understand it.
Great result for Jackson Bell. And again, really all down to today. This is an encapsulation to me of Jackson Bell's driving style. Tenacious, aggressive, fun to watch. 6
spots on the first lap.
Right.
I mean, and then a few more by the end of a lap and a half when the first full course yellow came out. That was a sight to behold, and really impressive too after the disappointment of yesterday to put that behind him and totally in the rearview mirror. Didn't think about it at all. Didn't seem to have any concerns about whether the car was good to go after all the work that was put into having it prepared. It just absolutely went for it. He knew he had to. It was going to be a scrap for second place, and every last position proved important.
Every last position proved important, and Spike Kohlbecker here, a great weekend for him. Obviously, he'll be a little bit disappointed by third in the points, I think, but a first place and a second place here, a great way to be able to close off what was kind of a weird season for him. He was one of the pre-season title favorites and just wasn't quite able to really seal as many victories as we thought. It took him all the way to Road America to pick up a win, and obviously was able to get one here at IMS.
Yeah, came into the weekend only 5th in points, though, so to recover from that and get up to third, yeah, you missed out on second by 1, but it's a matter of perspective, I suppose. And you're right, 2 wins. One of them comes here with Indy, one comes at Road America. I mean, those were 2 great weekends for him, really. You think first and a second, both of those weekends, that was crucial for him to get this elevated result in the points.
Yeah, very special, very crucial, as you said. Weston Workman bringing his way on in, and then we take a look at the full field results. Obviously finishing under yellow, Workman from Kohlbecker, from Bell, Robusto, and Drury. A great sort of yo-yo race there for Henry.
Yeah, he was up and down. He started up at the front, but dropped outside of the top 10 for a little while, only to recover to finish in 5th. And he was right there in the middle of the melee, wasn't he? So it was almost miraculous that he emerged on the other side, but credit where credit is due. He was able to complete the run and take home a well-earned top 5.
Yeah, Massimo Sanseri, a good run for him, up into the top 10. Isabel Robusto as well. Patrick Brunson in 10th, despite having a little bit of contact earlier on. Livio Galante, we already mentioned, the highest finishing legend. And Rutledge Wood, a great result for Rutt in 14th when everything is counted up. That's a good one for him.
We should stress as well, there are still some reviews to happen
Yes.
post-race. You might want to check the official results when they get posted. Either later today or maybe in a few days' time, because there are some reviews of various incidents that are pending post-race.
There's Livio Galante climbing out of the car right now, your WEX Group highest finishing legend. Good result for him. Definitely had to fight his way through the field. Still waiting for Weston Workman to pull on in. I can just see him coming on in there. He definitely took a victory lap, as well he should here at IMS.
Soak it all in. A win here, a championship season, a bright future as well. Soak in the moment, but I'm sure his thoughts are quickly turning to what's next as well, as are ours.
Yeah, very excited to see what this young man will do in the future. He will make a noise in the world. There is no question about that. Having a little bit of fun on top of the hood. You always love to see the celebration from these young drivers.
You gotta be kidding me.
To confirm the championship positions, it is Weston Workman, that is your champion of the year. Jackson Bell by a single point over Spike Kohlbecker. There it is. Will Robusto and Lucas Weisenberg rounding out your top 5. Weisenberg just falling short after that big plume of smoke came out of the back of that car.
Yep, frustrating for him, I have no doubt about it. But, you know, that's racing sometimes, and he was on the wrong end of it today.
It was, but we are able to head down to pit lane with Amanda to catch up with our winner.
You know, it's hard to remember a time when Weston Workman wasn't winning in this season, and there's the family up there. And I also caught your dad on the side here saying that you've also broken the record for total number of podiums in this series. You pick up your 6th win of the season for one final time. How life-changing will this season be for you?
Oh my God, this season as a whole has just, like you said, been life-changing. And then to finish off the season at a place like this is truly remarkable. Honestly, that one got gifted to us, but you got to take them when you can get them. So we'll take it. I'm glad me and my team got the W, close out the season. It feels so good to do it in front of so many amazing people. Indava's here, a lot of people from Toyota here, GR. My family's up there. Lots of supporters here this weekend, so it feels great.
Not to put you on the spot, but where's Weston Workman next season?
I'm not sure yet. I hope very good places, but this is a tough industry to make it in, and I hope I keep climbing the ladder.
Congratulations to Weston Workman on quite a season here and making his name for himself in GR Cup.
All right, well, a very, very happy Weston Workman down in pit lane. Love seeing all that support there. His family always shows up. They're always a bucket of fun. And there is Rutledge Wood coming over to give him a big hug as well.
Well, he's been a fixture in the paddock the last 3 seasons, hasn't he, Weston Workman? And I think everybody wanted to see him get that first win. Not sure they wanted to see him turn into the force that he became, but you can't help but love the big infectious smile.
It's not just Weston Workman that is the winner, though. We head down to Amanda, who's got more.
And another celebration going on down here for our Legends winner in Livio. I can't keep him still right now, I tell you. He's just been going all over the place. It's that winner's energy. Also telling me that he gets to kiss the bricks down here. And Livio, when you think about survival here at IMS today in these conditions, what was the key?
Well, the key was really apparently to stay out of trouble. So there's two ways to win a race. One is to go fast, and the other is to stay out of trouble. So staying out of trouble today was really a great fun race. And hats off to anybody over 45 that even thinks of putting themselves in this car against this kind of field. Unbelievable season and just an unbelievable league in GR. Thank you to Fast Track and Eagles Canyon for hosting me this year. Super, super fun season.
You did it.
Thank you.
Livio Galante, a very happy man, and there's Rutledge Wood wandering around as well. Spike Kohlbecker, as we said, third in the championship. Very happy, good smiles on him. We're very, very pleased, but very sad as it is the end of yet another season. Rutledge Wood, big smiles there for him, but we get ready to check out what happened today, and we get ready to look back on what was a spectacular 2025 season.
Always mixed emotions when you get to the end of the year. You've got champions that are celebrating, but others that are already thinking about next year.
Already thinking about next year, but before we officially look to next year, let us go back and take a little bit of a look of what it was today, because it was an action-packed race on a drying track. And here was the start. Henry Drury up at the front of the field, getting a good start. A little bit of a hip check there between Weisenberg and Will Robusto. Robusto very aggressive early on. Weisenberg a little bit of contact. This was an all back and forth battle. Robusto went way off wide, and then we saw up at the front of the field, that was Henry Drury and Lucas Weisenberg getting into it side by side. Weston Workman able to pick up the pieces, get his way up to the front of the field. That's where he would end up finishing on the day. More drivers working their way on through, including Jackson Bell, but a little bit of a spin farther back in the field brought out a little bit of terror for our drivers. Thankfully, we were able to get back in green after that one. Same couldn't be said for incidents we would see later on in the race. Workman continued to dominate from the front of the field. We saw 3 wide multiple times coming down into turn 1, folding the side mirrors on Spike Kohlbecker as Jackson Bell continued his dominant drive up through the field. There was Spike Kohlbecker hopping the curbs down into turn 11 as he had done multiple times throughout the course of the day. Then up at the front, this is where everything started to come undone a little bit. Lucas Weisenberg getting into the side there of Jeremy Fletcher. The two of them making contact. Fletcher assessed a penalty. After the restart, Workman controlled the front of the field, and then it was a melee farther back in with multiple cars spinning off into the outside runoff of turn 7. On behalf of Ryan Marine, my name has been DJ Clark. We thank you for joining us today and indeed this entire season.